Hey everyone, and welcome to my show. My name is Nick Elston. I'm a leading inspirational speaker, creator of unique mental health engagement strategies, a transformational speaking coach, and founder of Forging People, a community created to empower, inspire, and educate people who truly want to be heard in life and in business. On these shows, I bring you the storytellers, celebrities, speakers, influencers, entrepreneurs, those who have gone from adversity to excitement, who share their stories with vulnerability, transparency, inspiration, and most importantly, completely unfiltered. So without any further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode of The Nick Elston Show. Hey everyone, and a big welcome back to The Nick Elston Show. This was previously the Forge Ahead Show. I thought it may be a good idea to change that. I don't know why, somebody just suggested it. So there is a new name, there's a new season, there's a new episode. Basically, the same big bloke with the beard and the cap. So that doesn't change, which is unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your opinion of me. I'm way past caring about that. I say that, I'm still a people pleaser. I'm still very sensitive to these things. And the reason why I throw this in right from the start is today's guest, kicking off season 3, episode 1. We have the amazing Jack Nolan. Now, Jack and I have had many fantastic conversations around mental health, around vulnerability, and sharing our stuff, of being honest with our audiences, which we both are. And it's such an amazing way to kick off this brand new season. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Nolan.
Thank you, Nick. Can't wait for this session, mate. Honestly, I'm so excited.
It's so great to have you here, mate. Genuinely. So myself and Jack kind of first crossed paths through LinkedIn, I believe, kind of going back a little while now. So the pandemic has actually, for all the kind of the pain that it's caused, has also thrown up a lot of great introductions as well. Jack and I quickly started chatting. We have a really strong passion as ambassadors for positive mental health and our takes on that. Jack is also a youth ambassador. I'll let him tell you all about him in a second. Don't want to oversell him or undersell him. Do you know what I mean? I'm just kicking the tires. So, but what the commonality was that I love Jack's story. Jack shares his stories with vulnerability and openness. And I booked him to speak at one of my speaking academy sessions, which many of you will have joined on the podcast today from being an attendee of one of those events. And Jack's story basically blew the socks off of everybody. So I know we're in very good company today. So Jack, for those who haven't met you, and they really should have, tell them what you're about.
So I'm an author, I'm a creative, I'm a public speaker, and I share the light on mental health and motivation to really try and inspire people. I've done things with Camelot Lottery, I've done things with Hewlett Packard, I've done things with Barclays Bank, just to name a few. And I've gone around the charity sector and I've done work with 42nd Street Charity, the mental health charity in Manchester, which is the best mental health charity, I believe, as they've helped me so much with my development and my recovery. And they've been a big part of my life. So I take my hat off to them and I rave and I shout and I sing and I shout from the top of the roof to say how great they are, because they are the best charity, I believe, in Manchester for mental health support. So I take my hat off to them again. And, I think, with mental health, we all become creative. And I think that's a good coping mechanism for a lot of people to understand and go through, with such as poetry, such as writing, such as, just even speaking on a platform like this. Being creative, thinking outside the box is one of the things that us people who suffer with mental health challenges, go through. And I think it's a really big thing for us all to look forward to, as even with our goals and what we set for ourselves and our creative challenges that we put forward can help us express who we are, give us that little bit of escapism. And, it's just a really good thing to do, really, when you're a bit down and out and you've been going through the bad cycles, is to get creative and speak and be open about it. And I might even share a little poem with you at the end. You never know.
I genuinely hope you do. But you're quite right. I mean, creativity is up there, isn't it? I mean, even with things as extreme as mental illness, creativity has such a positive impact. I know, as part of my own kind of connections and stuff that I've made over the years with people, and you know what it's like when you share your stuff, you will find community with other people that have experienced very similar things. One of the things that I shared about a few years ago now was this thing around compulsive skin picking, or it's called dermatillomania. Now I know how to pronounce it. And it's linked to kind of things like obsessive compulsive disorder. And I met a wonderful lady who actually turned that kind of obsession, that drive that you have to kind of damage yourself in that way, I guess it's a form of self-harm. She turned it into art, which she gives away on the tube stations of London, which I think is an amazing thing, because not only is the creativity helping her, but she's also trying to convey that kind of message to other people as well by doing this hugely kind of generous act. Fantastic stuff. I'll pop the link in the bio for those who want to check it out. But generally, I mean, all the things, especially in lockdown, that have really helped us have been creative, haven't they? Even something as simple as painting, jigsaw, singing, whatever that may be, we've all been there. But yeah, creativity is huge. You alluded to your stuff. Tell us about your story.
Well, my story, Nick, I hope I don't bore you with it, because I know you've heard it all before. But
I have, but they haven't. So you crack on, my friend. Honestly, they will benefit from hearing it.
So I was like the quiet kid in school, going back many years actually, and I was like shy, scared, nervous, and I really didn't feel comfortable in my own skin in the school environment, and I got picked on and bullied because I was a bit of an emotional kid. But at the time, I didn't realise that I was undiagnosed with this bipolar disorder, which later came to me in life. And I can look back and reflect on all the times that I was upset, down, depressed, and I can put a reason to it now that I was struggling and I was unidentified. But people just brushed me off as the sensitive kid. So when I came through that journey in cycle, I got into high school and I thought I need to create a new identity for myself, because I've got an older brother who was in the same school as me, and I thought I can't like knock the cool kid off his stand because I'm the unsensitive one. I didn't want to be like, seen as the bit of the victim really within the school system and hierarchy and all them social pressures that come with being in a school jungle, you could say. So I ended up trying to like reinvent myself, being like determined and focused on my goals, and getting really into my studies. But I was struggling because again I was undiagnosed with dyslexia. So I thought, why am I like the stupid kid? Why am I like failing all my lessons and I'm struggling with maths? And somehow I managed to get English somehow, but that's another story altogether. But somehow I must have just winged my way through it, because I'm pretty good at not pretty good, but I feel like I'm a confident communicator. So I managed to get through that. But then come exam day, I got D's in maths, and I was gutted because I spent that extra year, commitment to maths. I sacrificed it in a few friends because I was so focused on my goals. And I said, listen, Jack, that D stands for something. That D is determination, domination, and discipline. And the qualities that you've got as a human, Jack, is more important than the grades that you've got on a piece of paper. I was determined to make something of my life. And from that step forward, what I did was I decided what I wanted to do. Because at that time, I wanted to be an actor, Nick. I was so involved with the creative industries and stuff like that. I wanted to be in TV and work in TV and be an actor and do all these creative things and write books, that I said, you know what, from this moving forward, I am going to show up and apply everything that I've done to try and get these grades in my own life now for the things that I want for me. So I ended up getting in college. I ended up getting a part in a feature film, which was only a small part, but it was a big one to me. I had Nick Murphy, I had Mark Strong, we had Stephen Graham, all looking to me and saying, oh, Jack, you're great, this, that, and the other. So that was a big confidence boost for me. I got on the stage at the Lowry as an actor, again in another little play, doing all these great things, Nick. And it's like really processing that anything's possible, that mentality that you can become. And then I started writing, age 15. So I spent 3 years writing my books, which was crime novels, and inspired and influenced by my granddad's life, because he was a bit of a villain in his day, but I've took a better path than he did, and I've used it as a positive to sort of show that no matter whether you're dyslexic, whether you're bipolar, whether you've got a learning disability or a mental health challenge, you can become whatever it is that you want in your life. And this is the reinforcing message that I always pass on to myself, because I've gone on to do the things that I've set my mind to do. And somehow, whether it's misguided self-belief or not, I've ended up getting a lot closer to where I wanted to be through just passion, hustle, drive, determination, and that heart, that spirit of a lion that we've all got to get where we need to be. So from there, I ended up going through the high school journey, getting into college, from college, getting the opportunity to go to university, but it wasn't the right step for me, Nick. Honestly, it was a challenge because I had all the social pressures kicking at me, saying you've got to follow the society system if you want to get a good job. And at that time, it was, you know, do education, go to university, and there you go, you get a job at the end of it. But in real life, it's not like that. You're not necessarily guaranteed a good job just because you've got a great education. I think it's down to you and your drive as a human being, whether you've got mental health challenges or not, in your own balance, whatever level you are at, we can all make progress every single day. And that might mean picking up the phone and speaking to a stranger. It might mean sending a message on the DM to someone you don't know, building relationships, because I think life's all about relationships and having positive relationships, because them relationships that you develop will help you massively in your confidence, in your well-being, being able to reach out and have a chat with someone who you can connect with who's going through something similar to yourself, or even just trying to create opportunities. Because the more you put yourself out there in a positive, ethical, and moral way, people will understand who you are, see you in a different light, and want to push you forward as much as you want to push them forward and help them in a different way. So that's the little mindset that I got onto when I was going through my journey. But then life sort of kicked me in the. Can we swear on the show? Can we swear?
Yeah, I've got an explicit rating on most podcasts, so it's good.
No worries. I was just going to say, well, life kicked me in the bollocks, Nick. It just punched me in the face when I least expected it. And I was doing so well in my life. I was progressing in the career choice that I wanted at that time, which was working in the TV industry. I was working as a runner for big TV companies. And I was working with like Amir Khan, Lorraine Keller, Team GB, just to name a few. And then, again, this curveball hit me. My mental health deteriorated. And I thought, what's going on here? And I started going for a psychosis episode. And at the time, I was like, what is going on here? I lost touch with reality. And it was a really scary and surreal place to be in, Nick. And, you know, for anyone who's experienced something like that, they know that it's really hard to snap out of. Because once you cross that line, it's hard going back. So I ended up getting sectioned for the first time. And it was a really scary and traumatic experience to go through. My family was suffering. I was suffering. The relationships that I had at the time, they was pretty bad, toxic and stuff like that. I didn't know that until looking back. But everything was against me. And I thought, why is this happening to me? I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm just trying to better myself. I'm going out there trying to create my own opportunities with that entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm just ended up getting locked in this, like, you know, mental health hospital. And I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. That's how serious my situation was, because when I was in A&E, they gave me a pill. It knocked me out. And next thing you know, I wake up in an environment where my family's not there. All these bright lights shining at me just because the sensitivity on my eyes. And I'm in a bedroom in the hospital. And I'm thinking, where is everyone? What's going on here? So I get up, walk around the hospital. I look to my left and I think, is that Jesus Christ? It's a man walking around there half naked. And I'm thinking, oh my God, look to the right of me. I see these three old men and I'm thinking, is that the three wise men? And I'm seeing all these, you know, symbolical things popping in my head. And I'm thinking, is this it? Am I in heaven? Have I made it like to this place? Which was a really sad and traumatic experience. But looking back at it, I try to smile and go, you know what? Because them experiences have took me on this journey of where I am today. And when I was in that hospital, there was people who were suffering with their challenges. And that's what I started saying to people in there. I said, listen, you can become anything you want, you know. So you've all got the spirit of a lion, a tiger, a bear. And that's when the doctors came running up to me and said, Jack, do you believe that you're a lion? I said, no, I'm not a lion. I said, I believe I've got the spirit of a lion. I believe we've all got the spirit of a lion. We can all do great things. I started writing on the whiteboards all the goals and all the things that I wanted to achieve, and they called it grandiose behavior. But to me, that was my hope. That was my vision. That was my future, where I wanted to be, you know. So I ended up writing on the walls, I'm going to speak before hundreds of people. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And they would say, Jack, you know, calm down. This is grandiose behavior, part of your condition, la, la, la. You know, just be grateful for being there. And I am grateful for being there, you know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people in my position might not have got out of that hospital environment. They might still be in there now. And I had a few friends who were made who was in that hospital a lot longer than what I was in. So when I got out, I thought, all right, I've got this book sat on the shelf that's collecting dust and rejection letter after rejection letter that's coming through. So I just got really laser focused and thought, you know what? My ex-partner, girlfriend, you know, left me at the time. My head was gone, my heart was gone. And I thought, how can I like bounce back and make something of myself still? So I got really laser focused. And I thought, I'm going to be so resilient and hungry to make my little dreams of becoming an author a reality. So I picked up the phone to a publisher and I thought, right, that's it. Boom, made the phone call. It got rejected. Made the second phone call to the same publisher. And in a matter of 5 weeks, it was weird. It was just like super speed. Each week I was ringing. After 5 weeks, I managed to get a meeting with this publisher. And then he brought a contract. And it was like something out of a Hollywood movie, a hero's journey moment, where I finally getting a little bit of success. I signed the contract, and it might not have been the best contract in the world. It wasn't going to make me J.K. Rowling, but it got me on the ladder of becoming an author. And that's what the most important thing was for me. And then from there, I went from strength to strength. You know, I did a book launch, sold 100 books, which was amazing. Again, it was not a massive, it wasn't thousands queuing up at the door, Nick, but to me, it was a massive number because I thought that's 100 people's lives that I've made an impact on, and they showed it there to support me, which was massive. And then from there, I ended up like going again from strength to strength. I thought I'm going to get in Waterstone somehow. I was on their website, but I thought I want to be on the shelf. So I went in with a Millie's cookie, and I said, let's get on the job, which is the name of my book there, the first book. Second one came out a little bit later, but chat about that a bit later. So, you know, I went in there with Millie's cookie and got really creative, and I started palling up with all the staff in there. And they thought that I was the publisher, going in there with cookies, chocolate bars, donuts, anything I can throw at them to get the attention of the managers. And that's where I started saying to them, man, I said, listen, I said, a lot of people where I come from, you know, they do bad things, they sell drugs, they do this, they do that, and there's not a lot of opportunities out there. But I'm trying to show that there is a bright light at the end of the tunnel, and that you can make something of yourself, whether you've got a learning difficulty. I'm going to keep saying this, but it's true. Whatever adversity you've got, you can make something of yourself. And I started pitching that to him, and he said, you know what, Jack, I'm going to put a couple of books on the shelf for you because you know what, you're right. And I was like, right, I've done it. Took a picture, took a selfie with it all, with all the books on the shelf. So proud, family was proud, everyone was buzzing for me. And then about 18 months later, things got a little bit darker. And I was like, I can't believe it's happening again. But I could feel myself getting really unwell because some people that I looked up to, like close family friends, was making the wrong decisions for themselves. And that had a massive impact on me. And it made me really unwell because I became paranoid, I was concerned, I was worried. I was hearing things on the street, going out in the pubs, having a laugh, having a joke. But things was getting quite real to me and really created a lot of paranoia in my head to the point where I became manic, had a manic episode, and ended up back in hospital for the second time, which again was a shock to the system. But I knew I was in the right place because I knew that's where I could get myself well again. And even how scary it might be when you've never been in a hospital before, you're around good people, you're around solid nurses and doctors who want you to get better. So if you're feeling unwell, you know, if you listen to this right now and you're feeling unwell, listen to my story, right, and know that you can make it through the dark times. And if you need to get put in hospital, don't be ashamed of it. Go in there like how I did and just say, listen, there's something wrong. I need to get sorted. I need to get my head back on my shoulders. My head's fell off, but it's okay because you will get it screwed back on again. All you need to do is get the right medication, the right balance, the right formula, and you will get through these dark and dangerous times that you think are so real in your head. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you go through, you know, you will grow and become a stronger person in the process of the climb, the journey of where you are in your life right now because of all the adversity that you've been through. And that's something that, you know, has changed my life for the better. Because after I got out of that hospital, after giving everyone chocolate and looking after everyone in there and creating like my own little family within the hospital unit, you know, I said to them all, I said, listen, I'm going to do something so bigger than myself. And I'm going to conquer my dreams and goals, not just for me, but for you guys now, to show you the way that we can do great things, that we can live a healthy and normal life to an extent of what is normal for us, because every single person's normal is different.
Are you truly being heard in life, in education, in business? Your ability to deliver any message with clarity, power and emotion will have an ultimately defining impact on your success, personally and professionally. Forging People, founded by Nick Elston, is an online community developed to empower, inspire, engage and educate you to truly step up. complete with online courses, early access to in-person coaching and events, free resources, and a community of like-minded people. Forging People will help you manage anxiety, boost confidence, and give you the tools to speak to any audience, whether it's one person or 1 million people. Speaking is more than just standing on stage. Speaking is business. Speaking is leadership. Speaking is influencing. Speaking is life. Contact Nick's team today on pa@nickelston.com or visit nickelston.com today to register your interest. This is the sign you've been looking for.
And we've got to understand that. You know, for some of us, we might be exciting all the time and jumping around. That might be more your normal. Some of us might be a bit more quiet and introvert, and that's your normal. Doesn't matter what, you know, bubble you're in of how you feel, as long as you know what your normal is and you stick to that the best you can in keeping yourself healthy with your medication, with trying to get a little bit of exercise, being social, speaking to the right people, keeping your right head in the right space, consuming the right information. You know, sometimes social media can be quite toxic, but I think it's only as toxic as we choose it to be, because we can watch positive videos on Facebook, we can watch positive videos on YouTube, we can watch positive information and consume positive information. So if you're in control of what you want to tune into, then it's like a massive library of positive information that we can consume and become better and grow from. And that's what I found a lot of strength in, from stoicism to motivational videos to philosophy to podcasts. You know, there's loads of great things out there what you can help yourself with to consume your mind in a positive way. So at the end of that journey, I know I've been chatting, I know I've been waffling quite a while, but cut me off at any point, Nick, honestly, if you feel the need to.
No, honestly, like, firstly, like, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with the clarity that you do share that with. I guess that the reason why I kind of launched this podcast many seasons ago now was to bring people that have been from adversity to excitement, to bring on people that have had those kind of journeys that most people won't experience. So to give them the real nuts and bolts of what was the reality of that situation. And certainly in your story, that's crossed lots of those different things that I'd love to go into with you. But for the sake of time, the two I wanted to focus on for now, as you mentioned about the relationship between your mental health and your mental illness and your family. How did that dynamic work? How much did you bring them in on where you were at any one given time? Did you receive that support back whilst you were struggling, whilst you were in hospital, for example? How did that look? Because one of the most kind of, or the biggest taboos within the taboo is actually, how do we communicate how we're feeling with other people around us, especially people closest to us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm dead open now with my family about everything. My mum and dad know too much about my life that they shouldn't know. It's like I can't go out without them not knowing what I'm doing. It's like, what you see, and at first that can be quite overwhelming. You know what I mean? So over time, it's took that relationship to develop. A new part of our relationship with my family is that, you know, I'm open. If I'm down, they know I'm down. Sometimes they know I'm down without me actually telling them, because they see my patterns, because they see that I might be on the couch for a little bit, and I might be just sitting there for a couple of hours. I might want to go in my room early night, stuff like that. They can see that I'm going through a bit of a bad time, but I'm open about it and I'm honest as much as I possibly can, just so I let them know that I'm all right, but I'm going through a depressive cycle right now, or whatever it may be, whatever's going on with me. Mainly it's depressive cycles, which is quite annoying, but I'm trying to like get to that point where I can have a buzz still, you know what I mean? Yeah. Recently, I've stopped drinking just because of my liver. My liver's like messed up at the moment. I'm trying to find out what's going on with that. So I'm not drank for 4 months, and that's given me like a lot of clarity on like when I'm going on nights out with my friends, and I'm like, wow, I'm the only sober one, but it's all right. You know, I'm still there trying to chat to girls and that, and that's a bit of a different experience. But you know, I'm a young 25-year-old man who's single, so I've got to do what I've got to do, Nick. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I said, it's my audience knows I haven't drunk alcohol for a long time, and having been on a stag do sober, it's certainly an interesting experience when you go out seeing everything in the reality of it, isn't it? Again, thank you. I guess the other thing I want to mention was, what did day-to-day life look like when you were when you were in hospital? How did that look in terms of, was some of the day dedicated to recreation, and how did that look? The therapy, medication support, how much of the day was spent on that? Kind of give us that kind of fly on the wall insight into that space.
Yeah, of course. So basically, for the first say 2 weeks of being in hospital, I was severely unwell with psychosis. So I didn't know what was going on. My family came in to see me. I was running around the hospital in mania, and just like, I just remember like seeing them. I'm thinking, are they real? Like, is this a vision? What's going on here? Am I just seeing things and that? But it was, my family was there. They was there all the way through it for me. But it was there as often as they could be because of hospital rules and stuff like that. But the penny dropped for me when another patient in there was unwell themselves, and they shouted down the phone to a takeaway house saying, "I'm in a mental asylum." That's when the penny dropped for me. But day to day, I just remember sleeping, running around, doing daft things, probably causing a mess for everyone, just being playful, over friendly with people. I remember like this girl brushing my hair, and I became friends with her, and I used to like just chat to her when I came back down to like a normal level. I was just a really playful character, and I think all the nurses loved me, but they knew that I could be like naughty, like a naughty kid basically. I was like a big kid just running around like messing about, doing daft things and stuff like that, but entertaining everyone and stuff like that. But
what about the process of leaving? Is it something that, I'm guessing if you were sectioned, you would have to be signed off to leave? How did that look, and what was the qualifying factor for that?
Well, I knew that hospital environment was getting a little bit toxic for me because of like, even though it was a great safe space to be in, but I knew that the people around me wasn't helping me in terms of other patients in there, just because of how unwell they was, and I was coming down from my highs and the craziness to back to reality a little bit, but I was still unwell, a bit shaky and nervous about it all. But I told my mum and dad, and I said, "Look, mum and dad, I'm struggling a bit here because some of the people I've left who I'm friends with, and I've got no one to speak to, and it feels a bit toxic, lonely, and isolating, and I'm a bit nervous and scared and stuff like that. But I know I'm getting back because I'm having conversations with you like I'm having with them, normal, instead of talking about fairies and wizards and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?" So I knew that I was on my way back. So they ended up speaking. I think like someone came in, like a professional, like a solicitor or something like that, and they was trying to like help me get out and appeal the section thing, and it gets a bit political. And then the doctors sort of like seen that I was getting back on track, and they signed it off, and then I got out. So it was I had the early intervention team being part of my support sort of package, where in terms of you will come out as long as you abide by this and this, and you stay with your family and all that kind of stuff, and then you agree.
Oh, that's cool. So in terms of, you've mentioned things like signs and self-awareness, and not just on here, but conversations we had before. What are the signs for you? What are kind of the warning signs, the kind of the red flags that you think that actually is worth tuning into for you? Because it's important to say that they're different for everybody, and it's not necessarily an indicator of anything serious. But for example, for me, I know that if I start feeling more sensitive or defensive, or really lethargic, that's something to really tune into, because actually it could lead on to my old obsessive compulsive tendencies coming back. So that raises a red flag. We do things to correct that. What about you? How does that look in terms of signs, but what you do to bring yourself back from your own playbook?
So I'm big aware of lack of sleep. If I'm not sleeping, and my thoughts start to race at night. So I could be going to sleep, and then I'm thinking about stuff that I shouldn't be thinking about at 12 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Because my brain sometimes goes on the go. If I'm not careful, I've got to be aware of it and catching myself from doing that. So I'll just, just try and calm myself down, rest, sleep. Even when I'm going through a bit of a depressive cycle, I'm tired, like I said, lethargic, questioning. If I start questioning like where I'm at and stuff like that, and I start comparing myself to other people, I'm aware that I catch on to that as well. You know what I mean? Go, Jack, calm down, you know what I mean? And then I try and figure out what I can do for the best of my ability. Like, I speak to my mum and dad about everything. I'm like, look, I'm nervous about this, I'm scared about this, I'm anxious about this, I'm doing this new thing, I'm uncomfortable about it, blah, blah, blah. Just talking about it as well is massive. That's one of my coping mechanisms. So awareness of my sleep, taking my medication is important. If I start thinking that I don't need it, then I know I've got a problem, you know what I mean? Because that's what's keeping me level. And then also just resting. I know it's hard for me just to rest because I want to move all the time. I want to make something happen and progress and move forward. It's getting that mix of like ambition and being like relaxed about it, like calm confidence, knowing that it will come, you know what I mean? If I keep moving in that direction, you know, instead of rushing and getting worked up in your head about, I'm not where I need to be by this point yet and blah, 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 then I'm going to get unwell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'll start making decisions that are unhealthy for me to move forward. That might be overworking myself and stuff like that. And it's better to be consistent, like 3 to 5 days of the week than going all the way in, then hard, and then
absolutely.
I mean, I've been knocked out for about 2 months then, or something. I mean, wiping myself out.
Oh, and the worst of that, boom and bust. Like, you give everything you got, then I'll just collapse. Kind of ask my friends, and exactly the same one, but all or nothing at all. That's it.
Absolutely, that's what they say about me too. Yeah.
Like, high five to that one.
High five to that. Yeah.
So I guess through to current day, your work as a youth ambassador, the founder of You Can Become, and also a mental health speaker, primarily speaking to the younger generation, although not exclusively. What are the current kind of things you're hearing from the younger generation around mental health, whether that be the current challenges due to the pandemic and lockdown, or whether actually the access to solutions? What are the themes that are really running through your audiences at the moment?
Being dead honest with you, Nick, like, I don't really know. Like, the only sort of youth sort of people that I sort of communicate with is my brother, little brother.
Yeah.
So I'm like aware of his like patterns and routines, and he sort of locks himself in his bedroom, and it's like, what's going on there? But a question like there, try and get him down, get him involved with the family and stuff like that. Try and get him out of his thing, get him socialising with his friends, pushing him to get out a little bit, getting him out of his comfort zone. Because I think we all can sort of hibernate sometimes. And I think if that's what's going on with my little brother, and that's what's happening through lockdown, the rest of the world of young kids and that we're probably going through the same thing, because they think it's all right to, I know it's their like escapism, you know, to go on Fortnite and speak to each other through the thing, because at one point we couldn't see each other, you know what I mean? So I understand that element to it, but I also understand how important it is that we do talk as normal human beings and connect with each other and spend family time together and do a lot of that sort of interaction with each other, because if we don't, we can lose touch with what's going on in the world and the most important things within the world in itself. You know,
absolutely. And how I mean, as we record this in September 2021, how has the last kind of 18, 19 months been for you with the pandemic and lockdown? And is that kind of played to any of your kind of challenges or adversities, or actually you have that toolbox in place that you've been able to deal with this okay?
Well, it's like yin and yang, innit? You know what I mean? Like, I've had experiences throughout this lockdown where I've been really down, depressed, thinking, oh my God, like, I've not spoke on stage, I'm going to lose my confidence there, I've just built that up, I've not done any speaking gigs, I've not brought any money in proper from speaking, because I have been thinking, how can I keep myself stimulated? And I'm trying to give myself creative projects, because I've got creative ambitions, such as wanting to make a film one day, a short film, and I want to, you know, save up enough money to do that, and I'm trying to do that, and I'm also, you know, getting involved in the creative industry on the side, as well as doing the speaking thing. And, you know, I've been working with Sky the last 3 months, but that contract's just come to an end. So I'm also trying to figure out what my next step is as you know, as someone who's just going out there as a go-getter to try. But, you know, I'm trying to figure out that balance between, you know, speaking, doing as much as I can without getting unwell, and, you know, being the best I can be sensibly.
Yeah, know? Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting that this year, since January, I've had a massive increase in my work in the education space, and I certainly think that would be a space that'd be hugely beneficial for them to hear from you on, because, and not just necessarily from the student perspective, but also from teachers, lecturers, parents, even the social groups. And I think that because of one of the impacts has been this kind of lack of community. And as we kind of step out into this brave new world, we've kind of got new rules to live by, even though they're not official rules. then it's had a conditioning effect, hasn't it? That it's kind of conditioned us to think that the inside is safe and outside isn't safe. And everyone's going to be in different places with this, aren't they? And I think especially when it comes to education in kind of, especially as I'm mentioning it right now, because it crosses all kind of age boundaries right the way through, there's some really kind of conflicting emotions. There's some real kind of challenges with emotional and mental well-being, things like anxiety and nerves and things. And at a time where it would be anxious and it would make you nervous through exams and interviews and assessments and things. So, yeah, I absolutely think there's a huge space for you in that as a young ambassador as well, for sure.
Oh, thank you so much, Nick. That's amazing, and it's like to my ears to hear that. Thank you for that.
Good, no worries. So you promised us a poem. Well, you didn't promise us a poem. I'm going to say that you did.
Thinking about the poem, then I was looking at the time. I was like,
just to call you out on this, yeah, you did kind of semi-promise us a poem. So I'm going to ask you nicely.
Right, I'll have a think. Like, what sort of stuff do you like? What is your?
I didn't know this is a request show. This is very cool.
Well, I'm going to figure out, like, what would your audience get the most from? You know what I mean? So I
think everybody here today would love to be inspired or motivated. So whatever you feel will do the best for that job, then you fire away, my friend.
Right, no worries. Right, here we go. So it goes. It's easier to be a spectator, to sit on the couch and watch something greater. When a lot of work goes unseen, people underestimate the power of a man's dream. They believe in the wrong ideologies, questioning why they can never be. When a lot of work goes into the dark that's never seen, that's why people curse and say that life's mean. It's done them wrong, while the other man's working all day long. From spectator to hater, false beliefs don't make them any greater. I'm the type of guy to slay down any slater. Look them in the eye and define them as a hater. Stone cold walls, chained to a cell. I'm seeing people chasing money and it doesn't end well. That's why gangsters die or end up in hell. You see them too defined with blood money in my past. I'm the new breed, here to last. So if you want to get to know me, pull up a seat. I'm a storyteller and I can tell you about beef. But my lessons and experiences exist for a reason, not just a gig. Throw in the shit jokes, call me the Stig. Unknown and you'll never know who I am. I'm not a voice of power, the definition of a true man. I teach, I preach, and I lead the way. I exist for that kid who's too quiet to say. Because one day he will wake and become something, just like you guys. Nick, thank you so much.
Boom. You should have had a mic to drop then. It felt like a mic drop moment. Yeah, absolutely. Mate, that was stunning. Really, really cool. Thank you, Jack. So, wow, what a way to kick off this new season. Absolutely powerful stuff. Thank you so much. So before you go, the question I like to ask everybody that comes on the show is, I'm going to set the scene. Now, you've done this before. You've got the heads up on this one. I am now the MC of the O2 Arena in London. 20,000 people have paid out hard-earned money to come and hear your slam poetry. I'm just about to call you to the stage and your walk-on music kicks on. That track that motivates you, that lifts you, that gets you to peak state. What would that track be?
It is Fort Minor. Remember the name.
Remember the name. And that's a great place to leave that. Remember the name, Mr. Jack Nolan. Big round of applause to Jack. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show, Jack. It's been a real pleasure having you along. Hopefully the first of many appearances over the course of this podcast. So really, really pleased to have you. Thank you for donating your time to be with us today. I wish you well and thank you for sharing with such kind of clarity and humanity. It's been absolutely refreshing, so thank you. So for everybody else, thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of season 3. Please stay tuned. Next week we will have another amazing guest to continue the season, and I look forward to seeing you soon. In the meantime, you stay happy, stay well, and take care. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Bye. And that's a wrap. A big thank you for tuning into today's episode. Please do leave us a like and hit subscribe for the fantastic upcoming episodes that I will be bringing to you, featuring more amazing guests. But for now, be well, be happy, be safe, and remember, as I always say, it's what you do next that counts. Until next time on the Nick Elston Show, take care. I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.